Good evening once again. It's Dr. Jonathan Ellerby with another evening healing meditation, which of course you can watch anytime and anywhere. And earlier today at the 12 at 12, I talked about sleep. And it was a 15-minute crash course, everything you need to know about getting a good sleep. And it's more or less true. It's a lot of the stuff that you'll get from a sleep expert in a first consultation. But we also talked about the importance of ending with some kind of a prayer, ending your day with some kind of prayer or meditation or a combination of both, healing visualizations, guiding visualizations. So of course you can use this for that. Now it's particularly interesting that we did sleep as the topic today because last night I didn't get any. So I went to bed very late, burning the midnight oil as it were, and then it turns out that at 12:30, as I was just about to drift off to sleep, my little 3-year-old daughter showed up to our room to come and spend time visiting and hanging out, and apparently she was ready for a party. So let's just say, long story short, there was no sleep until after 2, and I was waking at 6. Why am I telling you this? Because guided meditations, healing meditations, are a great way to prepare yourself for sleep, and you can listen to this right at bedtime. If the exercise doesn't help you, maybe it's boring, and that'll put you to sleep. I also need to warn you, I might fall asleep. So, enough said. The practice we're going to do tonight is fairly simple. It's actually something similar to what we did last night, but in a kind of opposite fashion. So we're going to review the basic kind of ingredients of the breath, or the basic parts of a breath. So it's not just inhale and exhale, but it's also the top and the bottom, if you want to call it that, meaning there's a pause in between each breath. So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to use something like the 4-4-8 breath, which is common. Don't worry, I'll explain it. Trying to engage belly breath, diaphragmatic breathing, but we're going to have our hands positioned on our heart and our belly. So that's a bit of an overview of where we're going, but let's close our eyes and put it all together. So start off by just taking a cleansing breath or two. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And this is going to be a critical part of how we release stress, worry, and anxiety. First, our attention is on the breath, now breathing in through the nose, feeling your stomach muscles pushing out as you breathe in. And then, at the end of that inhale, just pause a moment. And then, same, long exhale, pause a moment. Now that you're getting a sense of the 4 parts of the breath, let's add the counting. So you breathe in a count of 4. Then hold it a count of 4. And then breathe out a count of 8. There's a lot of variations on this, but you get the basic idea. So breathing in for a steady count of 4, holding it a steady count of 4, exhale, steady count of 8, pause, and then repeat. Let's take a couple moments just to be with that. 4 in, 4 hold, 8 out, pause, repeat. Hand on chest and belly. This may seem strange, but as you begin to grow calm and comfortable, if you're seated comfortably or laying down, ready for sleep, we're now going to take a moment in the middle of this calmness to actually think about what worries us most? Like, what keeps you up at night? What's making it hard to fall asleep? What do you review again and again in the middle of the day? And we actually start by just naming it to ourselves. I am worried about. I'm worried about my health. I'm worried about my income. I'm worried about my kids. Now, we're not trying to make a big list, so you want to stick to whatever's really on your mind, whatever's really going to keep you awake or prevent you from sleeping. And you just imagine that you are gathering that energy, all that you're aware of, what you're worried about, what you're anxious about, what you're stressed about. Just be honest with yourself. And then you're going to imagine that using your breath, you can release. Release. And the affirmation that goes with that is that you review whatever you listed, but now you name that you are giving it over to whatever you understand as the highest power. So it would look and sound like hands on the heart and stomach, breathing in. And then I release my fear of poverty to God. And then you open your hands and let them rest either on your lap or beside you, and then really feel the exhale. As if you're breathing out the energy of that fear. Then a nice inhale, cleansing out. Pick another one. I release my worry about my kids to the universe. Right? So whatever it is, you are able to surrender your judgment, your control, your worry, your fear, whatever you can give it over to. Name it. And then you bring your hand and your both hands down to your lap or the side of your bed. And you want to almost think of it as you're taking the emotion out of your heart, right? The worry that is not yours, that is only about mistrust in life. And then you're also, it's like you're emptying your gut. Because, really when we're anxious and worried, it's more than an emotion in the heart. It feels like something that turns our guts in a knot. So, we're going to review the second part one last time. Breathing in a cleansing breath. You've already named and gathered so many things you're worried and stressed about. And then you name it quietly to yourself or out loud, whatever it is, and that you're giving it up to something greater. I release my fear of poverty to the universe. If it's one thing over and over again, say it over and over again. And each time, like you feel it, like you're really letting it go, and you're really opening yourself in that gesture. And then you receive this breath, like faith, like trust, like peace. And you really, whatever it is you're naming, I'm giving this over to God, to the universe, to Allah, to the cosmos, to consciousness. You want to feel it. And notice what it feels like to be surrendered. And notice how important it feels to give up and give over the things you try to control to find peace. Because it is the desire to control the outcomes that robs you of peace. So, a lot of explaining in this one tonight. Hopefully you can continue to do it, or maybe you're doing it right now while I'm chattering, or you can do it before bed. Again, remember the 4 parts of the breath. So you start with that 4-4-8 exercise to get slow and low. And then you add the affirmation, the visualization. First gathering up a list of the core things you're worried, stressed, or anxious about. And then the releasing exercise. Each time letting it go as you state your commitment to release it. And then feeling that spaciousness, breathing in fresh, and name it again. I release my fear of sickness to God. I release my fear of the unknown to Spirit. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We're going to do something totally different again tomorrow night, and there's a whole bunch of these if you haven't seen them before, so check them out. Don't forget the 12 at 12s are live every day, also recorded 15 minutes of helpful tips, tools, and perspectives from the world of mindful wellness. And if you don't know about me, you can look me up on my website, jonathanellerby.com, and get your free copy of my book, Spiritual Experience. With that, I will say good night, and thank you for joining me.